Hey, welcome back to the stash. By the early 1980s, Marvel Comics were in a new era. The Silver Age had long passed, the Bronze Age was winding down, and the superhero genre was once again shifting. Crossovers were becoming more common, but nothing had ever pulled the entire Marvel universe together in one massive event. But that all changed in 1984 with Marvel's superhero Secret Wars. On paper, it was a simple idea. Heroes and villains whisked away to a mysterious planet called Battleword, forced to fight by an all-powerful being known as the Beyonder. In reality though, it was Marvel's first mega event, stretching across 12 issues and bringing together the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and of course, Spider-Man. But for Spidey, Secret Wars wasn't really about the cosmic war, about the Beyonder, or Doctor Doom stealing godlike power. His role in the larger event was small compared to some of Marvel's heavy hitters. But he did make sure to put some of them in their place, let me tell you that. Instead, Secret Wars gave Spider-Man something else. Something that would redefine his character, spawn new villains, and shape decades of stories to come. And so for today, we're looking back at that first Secret Wars event. Not to dissect every cosmic battle, but to focus on how a tie-in crossover and a simple costume change ended up changing Spider-Man forever. Before we do get into that though, I want to take a quick second to say a massive thank you for channel member Dragon Kingry for requesting the video. If you too want your own video, feel free to head down below and check out the membership tab. But any support shown truly does help the channel out, and I can't thank you all enough for the support. Also, here at the Stash, we're trying to reach 17,000 subscribers before the end of the month. Now, I know it's a huge ask, but with your help, I also know we can do it. So if you like Spidey or just comic content in general, feel free to stick around and maybe hit that subscribe button. But with all that being said, let's jump right back into the video. Before we even get into the story, it's important to understand where Secret Wars came from. The event wasn't born out of some grand creative vision, it wasn't about telling the ultimate Marvel saga, but rather, it was about toys. In the early 80s, Marvel struck a deal with a toy company Mattel, and Mattel wanted to launch a new line of superhero action figures, but they needed a big marketing hook to make them stand out. Their research suggested that kids responded to the word secret and wars more than anything else. Put them together and you get Secret Wars. So then, Marvel's editor-in-chief at the time, the legendary Jim Shooter, was tasked with building the story. His idea was straightforward. Take every hero and villain that kids loved, throw them onto a planet, and make them fight. There was a toy commercial wrapped in a 12-issue crossover, and yet despite the corporate origin, the event became something much bigger for the simple reason of, well, it was actually pretty damn good. It was Marvel's first true comic event, a blueprint they would revisit for decades with Civil War, Infinity War, and beyond. But among all the spectacle and insane feats performed in the comic, Spider-Man quietly stole the spotlight. When Secret Wars begins, Peter Parker is one of the many heroes teleported to Battleworld. He was surrounded by gods, geniuses, and titans of the Marvel Universe ranging from Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, the X-Men, and so much more. On paper, technically Spider-Man is completely out of his league, and yet, true to his character, he proves himself over and over again. He overcomes battles against the wide range of villains on Battleworld. He outsmarts the X-Men in a fight. He stands shoulder to shoulder with legends, reminding readers and the characters alike that even the street-level hero from Queens belongs among the greats. But Spider-Man's most important moment doesn't come in some mere battle. No, the iconic moment comes when his costume is damaged. In issue 8 of Secret Wars, Peter needs to fix his suit, and assuming that the other heroes are doing the same with a certain machine, he tries to create new clothing. Expecting to get his classic red and blue costume replaced, he presses a button, and out comes something entirely new. Perhaps it was fate. Perhaps it was influence over Spider-Woman's new design. But either way, what came out was a black suit. The moment Spider-Man emerged in the black costume was shocking. For over 2 decades, readers had only ever known the red and blue. Ditko had created it, Romita had refined it, and it had become one of the most iconic designs in superhero history. Changing it was unthinkable, and yet, there it was. A sleek all-black design with a massive white spider emblem stretching across the chest. Not to mention the all-white eyes and white patches on the back of the hands. It was bold, alien, and strikingly different. On Battleworld, the suit was instantly unique. It responded to Peter's thoughts, generated its own organic webbing, and enhancing his abilities. For Spider-Man, it naturally felt like an upgrade. It was easier, faster, even more efficient than his costume he'd stitched together as a teenager by a long shot. But even from the beginning, there was something eerie about it. The machine Peter found wasn't what it seemed. The suit wasn't fabric at all, it was alive. Of course, readers didn't know the full story yet. To them, it was simply Spider-Man's new look, and while some loved the darker design, others were outraged. Letters poured in asking Marvel why would they tamper with something as sacred as Spider-Man's costume, but Marvel stood firm. Not only did they keep the black suit, they doubled down, weaving into the core of Spider-Man's mythology. Now, the rollout of the black suit was actually kind of unique. Because of publishing schedules, Spider-Man actually debuted the costume in Amazing Spider-Man issue 252 months before readers saw him get it in Secret Wars issue 8. So for fans in the 80s, the reveal wasn't Spider-Man finds a costume on Battleworld, it was Spider-Man suddenly has a brand new look, and you'll find out why later. That entire issue was pretty fun as well. Spider-Man was just so grateful to be back, and in doing so, possibly changed the lives of two kids forever through simply talking to them and showing them around New York City. This though only added to the hype. More and more people bought the issue because it was Spider-Man in a way they'd never seen him before, and some could already just tell that it would be historic. But through it all, fans debated endlessly. Was this change permanent or just a gimmick? For Peter Parker, the suit changed everything. He was stronger, he didn't need to reload web cartridges, the suit moved with him, responded to him, almost like it knew what he needed before he did. At first, it felt like the perfect partner. But slowly, darker undertones began to creep in. The suit was taking his unconscious body for joyrides, going out during the night, swinging from building to building. All the while, as he sleeps, Peter would be facing nightmares of an identity crisis. One between the black suit and the red and blue suit. The physical and mental toll became too much. What seemed like a gift was becoming a curse. And when he found out that the suit was a symbiote thanks to Reed Richards, it marked the very first time he discarded the black suit. It's just so impressive how that original seed, the one planted in Secret Wars, grew into one of the most iconic arcs in Spider-Man's history, from an unsuspecting costume change to a nightmare that had only just begun for our hero. The black suit rewrote Spider-Man's mythology. It added an element to it that was pretty unique for its time as well. Even after he rejected the suit, it was far from the last time he'd see it. It would try to bond again forcefully, but thanks to a church bell, Peter managed to be rid of it once more. As I'm sure you'd all know by now, the symbiote after that then found Eddie Brock, which therefore led to the birth of Venom. It's crazy to think that without Secret Wars, there'd technically be no Venom, no Carnage, no symbiote saga. An entire branch of Spider-Man's world, stories that define the late 80s and the 90s, and even a bit of modern Spider-Man today, all trace back to a single moment in Secret Wars issue 8. It's wild to think that something that was created as part of a toy tie-in became one of the most enduring elements of Spider-Man's comics. But that's the magic of this industry. Sometimes the smallest, strangest ideas often become the most iconic. For me, the black suit has always been one of the coolest designs in comic history. It strips Spider-Man down to something primal. No flashy colors and no bright optimism. Just black and white. Simple, stark, and unforgettable. It gave him a darker edge, one that fit the way comics themselves were changing in the mid-80s as stories became more serious and mature. And beyond the look, I love what it represents. It's a reminder that these characters can evolve in good and fun ways. Some changes stick and some fade, but the black suit showed that even the most sacred designs could be challenged. And when it works forever. It's just such a cool design as well. I love this suit and almost always use it in video games whenever I get the chance to. Hell, even one of my favorite figures in my collection is the Mayfix black suit Spider-Man. They nailed Todd McFarlane's design of it. It's such an iconic look and moment for the wall crawler. When I think of the biggest milestones in Spidey's history, the black suit to me as a whole stands right alongside his origin, the death of Gwen, the creation of Venom, and so many other stories. I love how it's a symbol of transformation, of Spider-Man stepping into a new era. Not to mention how it led to one of my favorite suit-ups ever when Spider-Man went back to the red and blue suit. It's easily a design for the ages. one that stands right alongside the great costumes of the Wallcrawler. Secret Wars as a story might feel dated to some readers today. It could be clunky in places and clearly tied to the toy market that inspired it. The dialogue can be stiff, the pacing uneven, and compared to the more character-driven classics of the 1980s, it doesn't always hold up in the same way. But for me, I still like the story. It's big, it's loud, and most importantly, it's fun. There's a charm to watching all Marvel's heroes and villains thrown together in one massive showdown. Plus, it's impressive just how many iconic covers this series has. So while it might not be perfect, it has an energy that makes it enjoyable, and I think there's something to be said for that. And for Spider-Man, it was something else entirely. It was the birthplace of the black suit, a design that completely redefined how readers saw the character. For the first time since Ditko and Romita had laid the foundation, Spider-Man didn't look like the friendly neighborhood hero swinging through the streets of New York. He looked sleek, bold, and dangerous. The single design choice rippled across decades of storytelling. Even when he got rid of the suit, he still had a cloth version afterwards given to him by Felicia that he wore for many stories after it. The costume gave us an era where Peter Parker wrestled with power and horror in ways that mirrored the darker tone of 1980s comic books. It gave us the idea of the symbiote, which evolved into Venom, one of the most popular villains and sometimes anti-heroes Marvel has ever created. It opened the door to Carnage, to the symbiote mythology, into an entire corner of Spider-Man's world that still thrives today. 40 years later, the black suit hasn't lost its power. It's still instantly recognizable, still beloved, still iconic. Even when Peter isn't wearing it, the image of Spider-Man in black has become one of the most defining visuals of the character. It's the look that shows up in toys, cartoons, video games, and movies because it represents more than just a costume. It represents change, risk, and the idea that even the most familiar hero can surprise us. So when people look back at Secret Wars, they might talk about Doctor Doom stealing the Beyonder's power or the endless battles between heroes and villains on Battleworld. But for me, there's only one lasting image that truly matters. Spider-Man. Standing there in that room in a brand new suit thanks to the alien machine that would change his life and comics forever.